Morning, Mark.
Yo, what is going on, y'all? Welcome into Cardinalytics and Arizona Cardinals podcast, hosted by fans for the fans here on December 4th, 2024. A couple days removed from yet another underwhelming Cardinals victory. Definitely not an underwhelming game, but an underwhelming result for your Redbirds here. We're took a couple days to reel. After looking at the film, after talking about the game, just wanted to come on here and vent, recap this game with my guys. So everybody join co-host Jake, Shad. How you guys feeling after that tough game on Sunday? For sure.
I'm gonna go first. Feeling annoyed.
Yeah.
It was just frustrating. Like you get up 19-6, feel like you have the game in the bag, and just conservative after conservative play calling and just decision making and penalties. It was just frustrating to see after you would think that they bounce back after the Seattle game. And
Yeah. Jake, I know it's a tough one out there. You're out there in the city now, so they kind of felt the climate. Obviously, they haven't had the team around the last 2 weeks, but how's this energy of the city, and how are you feeling post this game versus the Minnesota Vikings, where we should have had that one, honestly.
Dude, it's frustrating. I listen to sports radio here every day on my way to work. It's like tough too because obviously, I'll give you this: the last week. I was coming back from golfing one night, and it was like the host of the radio show. Like at that point in the time, we're talking about ASU beating. It was. I guess it was I'm totally mixing it up. This was back in the Seattle game. The ASU was playing ranked.
Who did they play 2 weeks ago?
It was
I can't remember that either.
BYU.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, like which game is bigger? Like if what are we gonna open the show with if like the Cardinals lose against Seattle or if ASU lose to BYU, whatever. But dude, I guess like what got me thinking about that is it's tough because with ASU playing well and now the Cardinals like stumbling here, they're still talking about him, but it's all negative. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dan Bickley. You might have seen him on Twitter a little bit. Like the dude with like the long, like gray curly hair, like whatever. He's like just so negative. There was like this thing the other day, segment yesterday, and he was like, yeah, like he was listing off like these good things about Kyler. He's leading the league in QBR, like blah blah blah. So I was like, oh shit, like this is like actually encouraging to hear. They're actually like giving him some like praise. And then he's like, but he lost the game in Minnesota, absolutely threw it away, like blah blah blah, which isn't exactly inaccurate, but yeah, bro. I mean, it's tough. Like the radio guys are definitely beating up the team, and rightfully so, dude. Like two, in my opinion, bad losses in a row. I would argue this one was definitely more detrimental than Seattle, just because with Seattle it was easy to say, he went on the road into a tough environment, both based on the 12th man, like the fans, and then the weather coming off the bye. This week it was like, all right, like it looks like we're kind of back. Like the offense is still vanilla ass, but at least like the defense is balling out. 19-6 in the third quarter. You think like, bro, we had stopped. Like they weren't getting anything going. Sam Darnold was getting berated by our pass rushers, which was unreal to see. It looked like the corners were playing well. Shout out Sean Murphy bunting, best game of the year as a Cardinal. But yeah, bro, it's I still have a bet. I'm looking at it right now, 22-23, and it's just that's the one that got away, dude. It's super frustrating.
Yeah, no, you definitely can say it got away. Obviously we mentioned it 19-6, so I guess we might as well start on the offensive side. Kind of the place where most people would say you lost this game at on the offensive side there. It's a lot of things that you can point to with this game: offense, defense on the last couple of drives, gaining coaching decisions. But let's just start on the offense side here. Like obviously the Cardinals had almost or they not almost, they did have 400 plus total yards of offense, right? They had 400 plus total yards of offense. They seemed to be able to move the ball between the 20s for a good amount of the time. I think probably Gilligan probably punted maybe 2 or 3 times in the game. But most of the time they were able to, drive down the field on their own. 5, 6 total red zone possessions, 5 manufactured on your own. You only end up with 1 touchdown. That 1 touchdown really wasn't easy. It was pretty difficult. Kind of made it look easy. Like offensively, kind of starting there. Like this game, a lot of people obviously talked about Kyler Murray intentional grounding. So that was one of the many penalties that we had in the red zone. I think I pointed it out that 8 of the 10 penalties we had were in the red zone. That's insane. That makes almost no sense for a team. But yeah, 8 of the 10 penalties are in the red zone. But honestly, looking at that final drive, mostly out the way, and Tip Ryman has an illegal false start that honestly wasn't his problem. We all know that as a fan base, but he did get called for it. And then you have your intentional grounding from Kyler. So talk to me about kind of you guys' offensive feelings. I don't really – I think Kyler Murray made a mistake with the intentional grounding, but I do think it's a mistake that you can't make. But at the same time, he did a lot in that game that I'm not going to discredit as well, just as much as you can, discredit that intentional grounding. So, Shaw, just offensively, Kyler's performance, it still left a lot to be desired. It's 2 weeks in a row now. Where are you at with this offense? People are coming for Drew Petzing as well now after 2 straight weeks where nobody was coming after him after 4 weeks. Where are we at with this offense? And are we almost just going to be like, this is what it is? Or can they find another gear to push to the playoffs this year?
Yeah. I guess first, decent little bounce back game from the offensive line when it comes to just protection wise. But they were still getting too many penalties. We're getting penalties on the tight ends, penalties on honestly everybody's getting penalties. And like you mentioned, I didn't even realize it was 8 penalties and they all came in the red zone. 8 out of 10 came in the red zone. Like that's ridiculous. We kept getting in the red zone and we kept going backwards. Like we got the fumble from Sean Murphy Bunting, and I don't think we ended up with points after that.
No,
that drive.
I'll take my statement back. 8 out of the 10 penalties were on the offense.
Oh,
4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 of them were in the red zone.
Okay, and well, you say that, and then there's one penalty on defense that like I don't even think was a penalty.
Or 4 of them came in the red zone.
Is that a bunting on Jefferson?
Yeah, the pass interference.
Ball that was thrown. That was.
I think defense had it was the Jefferson one, and then it was the one with Jalen Thompson, who we'll talk about as well. Jalen Thompson, where he had to like kind of faux hold on what's his name. But other than that, there was no other defensive penalties that I can remember.
Yeah. But as far as the offense though, like I felt like for the most part, like everybody played or we did a decent job on offense until we got to the red zone. Like obviously, Kyler had 2 interceptions on the stat sheet, but like those interceptions like were pretty much null and void in the game for the most part. Like if you look at his QBR, I think he was still top 5 QBR for the week. Because he played a good game throwing the ball, but mentally like he was making a lot of mental errors. And that's the frustrating part where it's just like, okay, we've seen up until the bye week like a new and not new and improved, but like a different Kyler, a Kyler that we expected to kind of his play to kind of elevate this season. But then since the bye week, we've kind of seen him kind of revert back to like kind of like trying to force plays and overthinking and doing too much. And it just I don't know. Like I don't know what's kind of been going on with him, but hopefully he can get everything back right this second time around against Seattle. But as far as everybody else, Trey McBride, another good game from him in terms of just like being the reliable number 1 option in this offense. Now is that the thing that we want from this offense? I don't know. Like I'm starting to get annoyed with Drew Petzing and why like we just can't do anything down the field. Like kind of Jake, how you were mentioning before we started up. Like why can't we just run Marv down the sideline for a play and take a shot? Or like why can't we just I don't know, put Greg Dortch on some type of like motion and then just have him run something like a a seam route like down the middle and take a shot. Like it seemed, I think the only shot we took that game was the pass interference to Zay Jones.
Mm-hmm.
That was
That was
nice.
the only one.
Where probably would have been a touchdown if he didn't pass and interfere
Yeah, it
with
probably
him.
would have been a touchdown, but I don't know, man. Like it just gets frustrating watching like our top receiver that we spent the 4th pick on, who granted like he hasn't necessarily been like this like generational prospect, but he also hasn't had like ample opportunity to or I say enough opportunities to really show like what he can do.
Yeah, but
I mean the first
I feel like you got to start throwing him like in the slot more, like moving him
yeah,
around
like
because
the easy passes that McBride are getting on the
right.
outside, like the easy little out routes where we'll have McBride out there, like that could easily be Marv. Drew Petzing, he's starting to get on my nerve. Well, he's been getting on my nerves, but like the 3 tight end stuff, bro, you gotta like we gotta switch something up. Like I'm tired of seeing 3 tight ends. You're not fooling nobody. Like defenses know, like if you got Trey McBride flexed out wide, like he's just like you're just running a pass like normal. Like you might as well just
Right.
have 3 receivers out there and Trey McBride as the second tight end or the first tight end and Higgins. Like I don't know, man. I'm just getting frustrated as a whole with the offense. But they were a couple plays away from putting that game away, and they just couldn't get it done.
Mm-hmm. And to your point, Jake, real quick before you go, to your point about the 3 tight ends, like this is something that we're noticing now. Looking at the film, is that teams are, instead of like, people be like, all right, well, you got 3 tight ends out there. We're just going to do our base defense. We're going to do like a 3-4-4-3, whatever. We're just going to match you heavy, one heavy, or I should not even say heavy, just heavy versus base if you're coming down in that. But now teams are like, we're going to match you heavy. And because you don't have a guy that's going to kill us downfield, it's like, well, we'll just bring everybody in the box. And I saw at least 3 or 4 plays where Minnesota just had everyone in the box, especially in the second half. And that's the adjustment to your adjustment. Okay, your adjustment of, well, we're going to be diverse and different and run 3 tight ends all the time. Okay, well, now we're going to put a bunch of big guys on the field. So make sure that you can't run the ball off of that. And let me see if I'm going to get beat by Tim Ryman down the field. That's kind of where it's going to. And because we all know that there is no blazer on this team, there is no guy that's going to win consistently one-on-one, whatever. I don't care what separation things Marvin has to his name. He doesn't consistently win one-on-one. That becomes a problem for you, especially if he's the lone receiver out there. So this offense needs to spread out more. That's the adjustment. That's now the next adjustment that this offense has to come down to. It needs to spread out more, and we'll see if they can continue to do it. But it'll be interesting to see. Jake, it's a offensively performance, like it's stuff that you can grasp on, but it's not a lot that you can love up on like a good chick. So tell me, talk to me about offensively. Just where can this offense get to? What's the problems? What are you looking at? It's just not going well.
No, bro, it's a disaster to watch. It's frustrating. Pretty much agree with everything Shad said as far as Marv's involvement. Yeah, I'd like to see him just get some easier touches, and I don't know if it's like Drew doesn't think that he's dynamic enough, like to just, instead of throwing Trey McBride a screen 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, maybe we throw that to our number 4 overall pick, wide receiver. If he doesn't think he's dynamic enough, tough enough, quick enough, twitchy enough, durable enough, like I don't know what it is, but it's like all these other guys like Lad McConkey, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, these guys are getting these opportunities that I will say, as disappointed as I've been with Marv this year, I do think that we could give him not just targets, but more like
manufactured targets.
Yeah, like easy,
Yeah.
exactly, easy manufactured targets to just see what he can kind of get going. So that's been frustrating for sure. And I honestly just, I'm not gonna lie, I hate Petzing's offense. Like, I'm good with my running back, like having the occasional 100-yard rushing game, but like, I like James Conner when he's rushing for like 50 to 60 yards. He's catching about 30 plus yards, and the receivers are getting it going. I feel like a reason why, like, all right, I'm kind of jumping around here, but like, I meant to touch on this too. in my opinion, this was by far Kyler's worst game of the season. The deep ball, like the throwaways, the first pick that he threw was inexcusable. Like he was just throwing it to get rid of it. And Byron Murphy, who has turned into a very, very intelligent football player, which I don't know if you guys remembered, but I was extremely upset when Monty let him walk originally. I thought that was a mistake.
She were.
And he is on track to make the Pro Bowl as like the top vote getter as far as a cornerback from the NFC. So that's pretty tough. But he played that ball so well, and just made us look silly. And it was just tough to see because they're like, oh, it's basically just like a bad punt, but it's like, dude, it's the equivalent of like a 19-yard punt, 20-yard punt. Like that was momentum, bro. That was a bad mistake. Whereas like Kyler, you're throwing that to I believe it was it Dortch that he was just chucking it up?
It was Michael Wilson out there.
Okay.
But and you could tell when he threw it, his body language was saying, "I'm giving up on the play." That's why he threw it. He wasn't even looking down the field or trying to see what was happening.
I think he probably thought that Byron was like kind of closer.
He was because Michael was coming up back to the ball, and then he just chucked it back, and then Byron just, like you kind of said, instinctively came off of the route instead of going with Michael Wilson, came off of it, and then saw he kind of just floated it and was still in bounds enough.
And that's where Kyler just like needs to be sharper, because it's like, dude, you get like, especially when it comes time to like, God forbid, like if we're able to make the playoffs, like, dude, smart players are going to expose that so easily. Like, throw the ball away. Obviously, the other one with the intentional grounding, bro, like that ended up being the equivalent of like 14-yard sack to take you like to like what, 3rd and goal from the like 20. Yeah. Dude, like something absurd where it's like, what are you doing, my guy? Like, if you're just gonna flail the ball out, like put some mustard on that. Like, let's get it past the line of scrimmage. Like, that's where like I love this man. Don't get me wrong, but like we got to know where we are in the field, and these are the little details that separate the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomeses of the NFL, the Lamar Jacksons. These guys are getting the ball past the line of scrimmage. Yeah. It's not even a chance that they're taking a potential 20-yard sack on an intentional grounding.
I wouldn't even say little details. I would just say, where did the arm strength go? Like, get that ball out of bounds.
Well, I will say Kyler is a very unique passer in the sense that if you look at just Kyler on every play that he throws the ball, dude, he be like, with that baseball background and just like natural ability, he has so many different stances and like positions that he can throw the ball from. But that's great. But the issue is with that is, a lot, like some of these positions are going to be very weak throws, like regardless. Like if you're, you know what I mean? If you're throwing the ball with 2 feet in the air type of deal, or 1 foot on the ground, like kind of like these like shortstoppy type plays, it's like maybe that ball is not going to sail like 20 plus yards to the line of scrimmage. So it's just things like that where I wish he would fine tune it and just know, like Tom Brady-esque, like don't like it, there's no play to be made here. Let's not make a bad play worse. And unfortunately, right now, as of lately, Kyler has been making bad plays worse. I hate to say it, but interception to Byron Murphy, there was nothing there. That was awful. The intentional grounding that effectively took us out of scoring position and ended up going for the field goal and getting it instead of putting the game away, which was just.
I was gonna say I didn't agree with that. I didn't agree with that decision.
Awful.
Yeah, nobody here did.
Their offense had clearly gotten the momentum. They had just scored on us the previous drive in about 55 seconds. Like, I think the three of us knew that if they get the ball back, they're going to score. So why don't we try to put the game away here? And Gannon just screwed up, right? Like, he screwed up after Kyler had screwed up. So that's why I say those two coupled together kind of, I would say, lost us the game.
And also, I want to before you continue, I want to note too, like we had the ball with 2 minutes left to win the game too. Like we just had to go. Which I was telling y'all, like you only need 40 yards now to get in really good field goal range to kick like a 45-yard field goal. You only need 40 yards from the kickoff, and you couldn't even get a first down. So I was kind of disappointed by that too.
I will say, unfortunately, so when the Vikings were driving down the field, and I remember watching this vividly. They make the play to get to like our 3-yard line, there's a minute 48 seconds left and winding down, you know they're about to score. We have 3 timeouts. I'm yelling at the TV, timeout, timeout, timeout. They don't call a timeout. 30 seconds run off the clock. They score in the very next play. We got the ball back with a minute and 10 and 3 timeouts. Where it's like, I feel as though that falls on JG too, because it's like, bro, they have all the momentum. They're obviously gonna score, right? Like, let's think like Madden, bro. They're gonna score here, right? So let's use a timeout. We'll still have 2. Now we're stopping the clock at a minute 48. The defense can really get settled. Rawls can actually try to call like some sort of like strategic play here, and if they score, they score. Now our offense gets the ball with 2 timeouts in about a minute 40 seconds instead of a minute and 10 and 3 timeouts, because we totally mismanaged that. Like, it was a disaster from the start. You knew after like the first play, like, I don't know if
my only thing with that is, it's like, if you call the timeout and they don't score, well, now you've committed yourself into calling all your timeouts there, because like, let's say you call a timeout at 140 and they don't score, so now it gets down to 110 again. They don't score again, so now you have to kind of keep calling timeouts if they're running the ball. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's not incompletion. So like,
that's the gamble of it, though, bro. In my opinion, if you're gonna kick the field goal when we had the ball, then you're going to call the timeouts as they're, you know what I'm saying? Because like, you know what I'm saying, bro? Because it's like, all right,
they still had 1 timeout. So say, shot in your instance, and I think they passed the ball regardless of where they're at, outside of being at the 1 yard line. I think they passed the ball the whole time, so you don't have to use said timeout. But like, I would have called a timeout too. Like, don't get me wrong, I would have called a timeout too, because you at the end of the day, you just want time. But I think it's a thing with Gannon, and just like, he's seeing Kyler, he's kind of seeing Kyler have 3 of these type of drives where he just needs a field goal. So it's like, a minute 15 with 3 timeouts, like.
But let me say this: in all of those instances, we've had like 3.5+ minutes every single time. This season, we have not seen Kyler drive the field with under 2 minutes to go. It hasn't happened.
It's a good mark. That's a good notion to point out right there.
And I will say, historically, bro, he has never been good at doing that thus far in his career. So that was just, I pretty much knew when they scored right there and we had a minute 10 seconds. Like, I hate to be that guy, bro, but I did not have a good feeling.
We also had a moment too at the end of the first half where we could have scored a touchdown too, and they didn't take a shot in the end zone. I don't know if y'all remember that. Where, like, I think we got down to like the 5 yard line with like maybe 10 seconds left, and instead of like kind of quick hiking it and taking a shot at the end zone to like, like maybe like a fade ball to Marv or something like that, like we just let the clock run, and then we spiked it with like 3 seconds left to take the 3. Another concern, in my opinion, it was pretty conservative. Like,
that's definitely conservative, because it's like the thing with JG is, and the biggest frustration I had with the same type of conservative look that we had this game is that I get there's multiple games, and I get that game didn't end your season, but that game changes your season as well. Like, at the end of the day, I love how they think. I love their mindset of 1-0 every week. That's a great mindset to have. And the external factor of it, that's not reality of it, because you could go 0-1 in that week and you could rip off the next XYZ. So at the end of the day, like, I'm glad they have that mindset, but at the same time, like, you need to take as many risks as possible, because taking the risk, like, that saves your career, and that puts, I should say, the faith into your players, and they kind of get that notion, like, you telling me that Drew Petzing, Jonathan Gannon, and Kyler Murray all are sitting down together and saying, Kyler, we're going to limit you a lot this year, but, it's going to work out for you in the long run, this, that. Yeah, but you don't have the team to do so consistently enough. Like, I just personally think, like, we all think so. Like, let's open it up a little bit more to the point where guys are, feeling that they're a part of the part of the game. Like, remember the Bears game? And he's like, yeah, I kind of was bored out there. I didn't do much, this, that. Like, it's nice when you're winning, but in a game when you need the guys, like, let guys go ball, right? And so, like, and it's just weird to see, because a lot of, like, I've kind of put this out there, like, we want to model our thing in comparison to the Lions. Obviously, we're going to be our own, but we want to model our comparison of building this team back up in terms of the Lions. Dan Campbell, 1,000% is telling people, push it down, not even push it downfield, but push that ball like instead of trying to get 4 yards on 3rd and 7, try to get the first down. Like instead of taking 3 points when I'm at the 4, let's go out to go to win this game. So they don't, there is no holdback to it, and you let your chips fall right there where they may. So it's the learning curve, but it's also the learning curve of how high stakes some of these games are. And for the Vikings, it wasn't that high stakes. Yeah, they dropped the game, but at the same time, like they are kind of almost solidified onto where they want to go. So it's unfortunate that your team let that opportunity up, especially offensively. But I mean, defensively, the guys, the coordinator were loving, the players that were loving, like these guys are stringing and humming together. This unit has now, I think they gave up 2 touchdowns on Sunday, so that now makes 3 total touchdowns given up in the last 4 total games. That's still a great feat to. Let me take that back. How many games have we played? Yeah, Jets. Yeah, that one was on Jets, Bears. Yeah, 3 total touchdowns in the last 4 games. The defense with a bunch of quote unquote no names just stepping up. Making big plays here and there, getting pressure. The cornerbacks, as we mentioned,
they didn't really give up a touchdown against. Well, I guess they did give up a touchdown against Seattle. They gave up 1.
Yeah, they gave up that 1 touchdown. So
we've scored that. I honestly forget. Oh, it was
JSN. That was JSN on that out route. Where if Lucetta would have went to the flat, they don't have anywhere to throw on that play, and it could have also been a sack or a stop right there. So it's just the defense overall is flowing in a nice string until kind of that mid-third, fourth quarter hit where Shami and Shaw mentioned it before you got in, Jake, is that you go up 19-6. You should be playing with the same defensive intensity that you had while you were trying to win, while you're trying to get to 19-6. You get to 19-6 and you start seeing guys play soft zone coverage. You see 4-man rushes coming in, and literally that's the moment where Sam Darnold began to pick you apart.
That was maddening. I don't know why we decided to change that up. That was so bad. But honestly, I really don't want to say anything, too bad about the defense, because that was pretty special performance. Obviously, up until the end there.
Yeah, you may not want to, but I will. Fellas, like when we need to stop. As we say, when we need to stop, we need to stop. And I can't help but realize, like Nick Ross, I love the aggressive pressure, but your on and off hit rate at some of this is incorrect. Like you were perfect, I would say, hitting the on button in that 49ers game, because Brock Purdy had no idea you were sending pressure. And so it comes as a nice motion, or I should say it comes as a nice little sprinkle on top that you were able to get pressure, hit him. The ball floats in the air and Kaiser White tips the ball, intercepts the ball for the game. 4th and 7, when they have only 3 receivers, I need more coverage on the field. I don't really care that they've been picking you apart on that asset or I should say on that instance. And I even like the blitz call, but to a certain degree, I would not have blitzed the players that you blitzed. I would have dropped zones much differently. I wouldn't even have played zone. I would have played man, because there's no way in hell I'm letting Justin Jefferson beat me in a one-off 4th down, I win the game situation. And so, like, that's my biggest gripe with the entirety thing. I don't even think the blitz call was incorrect. I just think it was manufactured and run wrong, and you had the wrong guys on the wrong side of the field. Because anybody that saw the play afterwards, like you saw Baron Browning in the same area as Justin Jefferson, he's not gonna know to.
Bro, if it was Kaiser, he would have ran right to Jettas like he did earlier.
If it's Mac Wilson, it's a good chance that he gets underneath the route properly. Like it comes to a certain point where, like, the trickiness is effective. Don't get me wrong, because it had Sam Darnold, unaffected for 2.5 quarters. But then it comes to a certain point where they figured it out, and then we did not start to slow them down because they progressively got better as the game went on. And that's just the data that was collected. That was just the information that they saw. And that's the stuff where Nick Ross is still not ready to take the next mantle yet, because the creativeness is there, right? You see the creativeness with the fronts, the looks, the pressures. Yeah. I mean, the stuff that they do with the 3 safeties or not even safeties, and I also want to talk about that a little bit. I don't like that they're moving Garrett Williams to safety. I know he plays nickel corner,
bro.
But I'm seeing him run deep halves too much. I'm seeing him 15 yards off the ball too much. The guy is a good nickel corner. Let him play nickel corner. Let him be in that area. Let him maneuver, because Justin Jefferson lined up in the slot in that last minute play. And Garrett Williams, you could see the frustration on his face when Justin Jefferson caught that pass, and it was, the drive continued. Let him go up there, play Justin Jefferson one-on-one, and let the game be what the game will be at that point. Like, the guy, he has great advanced metrics, but he is covered up a lot. So I would love to see, obviously, when he is targeted, he does a great job. So definitely not shooting Garrett down. He does a great job, but I just want our guys to be more aggressive. Starlin Thomas has the speed to recover if he gets beat. You can put him in press more. Max Melton's same kind of thing. Sean Murphy-Bunting, like Jake said, he had a great game. I'm not going to shit on him. He forced 2 fumbles, had a BS pass interference call, had 1 legitimate pass interference call, I think, on the one thing. So, oh, no, that was a different game. So, yeah, just 1 BS PI call, and then everything else he was pretty good in. So,
he played well.
I just, just Nick Rouse, you are doing good. I think Nick Rouse is doing better than Drew Petzing. I think that's a fact. I think we all would much rather want to lose Drew Petzing instead of Nick Rouse. So I think that's another thing. And it's just, it comes down to a point where you got to call stuff at the right time. Like last week, I thought we lost the play calling battle on offense. This week, we just lost it on defense in the second half. And it happens. KOC is a good coordinator, but there's no way you let Justin Jefferson and Justin Naylor be the other guy, and Jordan Addison. And Jordan Addison, he's good, but Justin Naylor, you could have let him. You could have let him go one-on-one. I would have dictated all my coverage to Jetta's side and leaving one-on-one on the backside and seeing if he can beat me 4-4 down. So, and then obviously they go down and score. So I like Jake, you said, Jake, go ahead, talk to me about the defense. Like you said, I'm not going to shit on them too much. They did have a good day. Just that one, instance of the game right there kind of upset me a little bit, but. Talk to me about this defense, how you feeling about some of the guys, and how they performed on Sunday. What they did against a high flying offense. Definitely, Jettas did have 7 catches, 99 yards, but it kind of felt like he was inactive for the majority of that game. So, tell me how you seeing what you feeling about that defense.
Dude, yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. Give me about a minute here. Defense, I was super happy with, bro. Like they put us in a position to win that game on the road, Minnesota. At this point, a 10-win team, like they gave us a great opportunity to just be competent on offense, and I just didn't feel we were able to do our job. But 5 sacks, I think I predicted 3+ last week.
I think you did.
So that worked out well. Mac Wilson, like in my opinion, got to be NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Unbelievable game, bro. 7 total tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Batted a pass down and hit the QB 3 times. Like. Dude, it makes me so happy to be right about this guy. When we originally signed him, like, I just love everything he's about, bro. Like, always on Twitter, tweeting shit out, like, all about the team, loves his teammates. He's become incredibly close with Ottawa's very own. I know you boys know him. So it's just good to see, bro. Like, I feel like our linebackers are, I would say, borderline elite. Like. When you have linebackers that can disrupt the game like that, like Mac Wilson already has an interception this year. He had a pick 6 that got called back like wrongfully. He's been balling, bro, and it's just great to see that. He's a great culture guy, and it's nice when you don't have to have a game where the defensive star has to be Budda Baker every single time. So between Kaiser, Mac, Budda, dude, LJ, 2 sacks as well. Like Stills has been showing up. Like, it's nice, bro. Like, I really am happy with this defense, the way that they're, deploying different looks. But I will agree with you, Corey. I feel like Rawls has been great at times, and then other times it's like, almost feels like situationally a few times he's just blatantly called the wrong type of defense. So that can be frustrating, but I don't know, man. I really do feel like you said, yeah, at the end, the defense definitely like lost their steam and play calling was soft. But I feel like they really put us in a position to win the game, and we just weren't able to do it. But it's frustrating, bro. Like I remember talking to my cousin prior to the season, and I was like, dude, if this defense can be like top like 20,
it's where we needed to be.
I'm like, dude, defense can be like top 22 as opposed to like 30th last year. I was like, we're going to be a great team. And the offense has just been not good. I know, like, I think the defense is rated like 12th or something, right? Or like 14th or something right now. Like, very good, right? Like, or at least good. And the offense is like 16th, but I don't know, bro. Maybe that's like the raw statistics, but to the eye test, dude, the offense has just been super sluggish and hindering the defensive firepower. Especially like against Seattle again this upcoming week. I would love to see Ross dial up the pressure again. Like even Baron Browning, bro, like huge signing. Like that guy has been living in the backfield. Like he hasn't been able to get home yet himself, but he's freed up all these other guys to just go and dude, he's shifty, bro. Like he slithers right in there and really blows up a pocket. So I think that was I would give that signing not an A+, but I would give that signing like a solid like A- so far. Probably an A, honestly, based on it being a 6th-round pick that we traded away. So I'm happy with the defense. I understand where you're coming from, Corey. Obviously, they folded at the end, but that defense more than put you in position to win that game on the road.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So your total team defense in terms of yards per game, 17th in the NFL.
Bro, and if you look at if you look at points allowed, I guarantee it's even better because we've let up a lot of yards like that Chargers game, but held them to five field goals.
Yeah, points I think looks like you're 11th at 21.6, which
crazy, bro.
If you told me defense gives up 21.6 through 13 weeks, and the Cardinals are 6-6, yeah, I would have to ask you why. I probably wouldn't be able to understand that, but I would say I would have thought you at least in April with everything that we would have known, or at least in May with everything that we would have known about what we were getting and what we had at least already. I would have said there's a strong possibility this team is 8-4, 10 and whatever 10-2, but sadly they're 6-6. So Shaw defensively, they've been playing great ball since week 7. I think I saw they're up to number 7 in total DVOA on defense, which is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive overall. Like, how are you feeling defensively? Like, are you comfortable with it for the rest of the season?
I mean,
is it shaky still?
No, I don't think that they're super shaky. Surprisingly, I feel like we kind of know what they are at this point, and it's actually like serviceable. With the play caller that we have with Rallis, and like y'all mentioned, like if he can kind of situationally be better and not immediately go to prevent defense when you score a touchdown or go up 10 13 points, whatever it was in the game, I feel like we'll be fine. But isn't it crazy that like it always seems like you only have one. You either have a good offense that day or you have a good defense that day, and it's never like we have both. Maybe I guess the Bears game was probably like
the Bears and the Jets game were the two games where you have both.
Yeah,
maybe Bears, the Rams too. You could argue maybe the Rams, maybe.
Yeah, maybe the Rams, but like against the Chargers, the offense wasn't there. Against Seattle, the offense wasn't there, but the defense was there, and it seems like that to me is the most frustrating part. Like, it's not necessarily like the defense itself; it's just that like the offense can't. We're playing way above expectations on defense, and the offense is playing way below them, and it's just like we got to figure out a way to get these two to play off of each other, and that's when we'll really turn it up. We'll really turn it up for.
They're putting stuff together. Obviously, Darius Robinson made his debut. It wasn't too flashy.
I was gonna ask y'all about that.
It wasn't too flashy, not too impressive. He did his big one. Back in the NFL. Not back in the NFL for the NFL for the first time NFL debut. But it felt a little bland. I thought, like as we mentioned last week, I thought he could have did what he did this week in Seattle. I mean,
he only played 20 snaps.
Yeah, and I felt like that is exactly what he could have did in Seattle, was play 20 snaps. Get yourself underneath some NFL rhythm off of the bye week, and then play this game in Minnesota, because that's a controlled environment. And I don't know how bad the calf injury is. Clearly, it must be worse than anything, because even now he's still on the injury report as limited. So it's clearly just going to be a nagging injury throughout the year. That's fine. But that's not what we were told. We were told that he was progressing fully to be healthy and he was good to go and this, that. So I would have thought, I get it. He's a rookie. I don't really care though in that essence, because it's off of a bye and I'm playing him off of the bye a couple of snaps, because that would allow him to get his feet under him quicker. Like at the end of the day, you still need, if you want to be in that 19-6 range where you are dropping 7 in coverage and rushing 4, you need somebody up front that can win consistently by themselves. And I wouldn't say that he won consistently by himself on Sunday. I would say that he looked good at pushing the pocket at times. And I also could say that he looked like he was getting pushed out the play. I mean, it was a play where he spins inside and he spins so slow that Sam Darnold can recognize it, escape to the outside because he's playing the defensive end on that play. Sam Darnold escapes to the outside and runs it for about 12 yards and a first down. It's stuff like that where you have to know like your spin movers are going to work right there. And you can't lose contain as a DN. Like you have to continue to stay upfield. And obviously those are things that are a learning curve, but at the same time, like Darius Robinson could have already had those 20 steps under him. So he was playing maybe 30 to 35 and maybe having even more of an impact. And honestly, do y'all think he plays more? I mean, obviously the defensive line likes to rotate and maybe he becomes a star enough to be on the field more, but do y'all think he plays more than maybe 40? I mean, no, I should say this, maybe 70% of the snaps on defense on a regular even basis? Because they like to rotate D linemen. So does he play that much?
I feel like
we're talking about D-Rob.
Yeah.
Bro, I just got to say, too, he's not even on the stat sheet. Like, he didn't record.
Yeah, he didn't do anything but play.
Nothing.
No, I feel like if he starts to flash and he becomes like you said, like that guy that like we can kind of trust to get there with just 4, then obviously like he'll play a little bit more. But I don't know, man. Like you said, he didn't really like. It was one point we was watching the game. You're like, "Yo, where is this guy?" And I was like, "Well, he's out there."
No, he's out there, bro. Dude,
yeah.
He just ain't doing nothing.
I would say that calf better be still bothering him because it's a problem when you see Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison under the defensive stats and you don't see Darius Robinson. So,
oh yeah.
Jake, I mean, do you see a world where he's playing a good majority of the snaps? Because almost like to a guy that you mentioned about Byron Murphy being gone, a guy in Denver, Zach Allen, he'd be playing all of our snaps on the defensive line throughout the entirety of a game. So
that was another miss, bro. Absolutely, we saw it.
That was an unknown miss. I don't know if I can kill him for that one. I don't know,
dude. I'm definitely biased towards him. Just he was a Boston guy.
He's a Boston guy too, as they say.
Yeah. So I mean, I met his family too after that Carolina game a couple years ago. And, he was super cool, bro.
Yeah.
It was and I don't know, bro. He was always like the mini JJ Watt, like that was supposed to be like the prodigal son after JJ. So pretty tough, but
the copycat.
I'm not concerned with that though. Like he got paid, good for him. Didn't fit our timeline or how Monty was trying to do things. So it is what it is. Byron was missed. Zach Allen, not so much. It's not like he's in the depoy conversation or anything, but there's bro, like
he balling though.
No, he's playing well, bro. He don't get me wrong. He's definitely a piece that we could have really used, but I just hope we didn't miss on Darius Robinson because there were other guys there that definitely could have come in and made an impact. So let's keep the fingers crossed that the calf's still bothering him because he was a non-factor, dude. And I don't know if you guys saw the video of him during the Saints preseason game was circulating prior to him getting the the actual like playing time this week. It wasn't even that good, bro, in preseason. I don't, even with his stance, dude, I'm like, I really hope this guy works out because we've all been like using that as like a bit of an excuse, like, oh, when we get like our first rounder like to come play. hopefully it was just like a little bit of just first game, like minimal reps, but he and I basically had the same type of effect on the Cardinals this past week. So
I will say when you see at least practice highlights that we've seen from today, or maybe even yesterday, he's explosive off the ball. Like he's at least he's looking like that in practice. And obviously, what they said about him in training camp, we weren't there in training camp. We only could get highlights and stuff like that. But they also did mention that he probably was one of their best players on the team in training camp. So
maybe it's the calf and just not getting reps. Like let's
and it's a ton of shit. Yeah, a ton of shit as an NFL rookie. Obviously, you want to learn the playbook. He clearly is probably in his playbook, 90% of the day. It just because obviously we've all seen that video after he got drafted, the type of preparation that he has for himself throughout a work week. So, like
I mean,
it's not. I don't think it's anything but the playbook. I think it's just getting his legs under him, and it's gonna take some time for him to get those legs under him. And like you said, he needs to be a guy, regardless of whatever happens with Monty. Your first round pick last year, he's been a solid player for us. He's not really an NFL guy yet, but he's been a solid player for us in terms of what we're building. Your number 4 has been a solid player for us and what we're trying to build. He hasn't been an NFL guy yet, and so you just kind of want to see that for Darius as well. But you honestly want to hope that he will be an NFL guy. Like at the end of the day, if any of these 3 guys end up being NFL guys, like that changes what your franchise is going to be able to be and do. So
something I want to throw out there too. I feel like had we won this game, I think this would be a totally different narrative. Like we'd be seeing things through, what do they call, like the rose covered glasses versus like right now we're seeing things through like the stinky glasses. Like had we closed it out and won this game, we'd be saying, oh yeah, like Darius Robinson, he played minimal snaps, he's getting his feet wet, we didn't need him to go and make a play. His first ever NFL game, he's still dealing with the injury, as you had mentioned, Corey. But right now we're like, oh, we lost the game, and like this guy wasn't a factor. And it's like, I think we just gotta at least. I'm saying this more to myself than you guys. Like temper expectations a little bit. Let him continue to grow. Like we've given Marv all this grace, and he's played every single game. Except what did he miss? No, he played after the concussion.
Played every game, but basically missed the Packers game because he went out on the first 10 snaps.
Right. So I think we got to give him a little bit of time. Hopefully, he gets that first either sack or QB hit, and we can all go hog wild about him. But yeah, let's give him a little bit of time.
It could happen this week. I mean, we saw in Seattle 2 weeks ago that our defensive line was kind of generating a lot of sacks last week or 2 weeks ago. So this week it was more so kind of blitzes that kind of got home a lot more. Outside of LJ Collier's 1 sack, it was kind of a lot of blitzes that got home. So this week, maybe you can keep that 4-man rush. But as we know, Jonathan Gannon did mention that they left bullets in the chamber and a tight menu, as his words, were said for post Seattle game. So I would love to see the full menu, Jonathan. I need every entree available to me. So please let me feed me well.
You just reminded me, like we're still having issues with wrapping up the quarterback. Like that's got to be the easiest guy in the field to bring down. If you're able to touch the quarterback and he's not Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, like you should be bringing him down. If you're able to touch the quarterback, there's no reason why a defender shouldn't be able to take him down. And I think for me, that's going to be the biggest key that I'm honing in on in our upcoming game on Sunday is if you're able to touch Geno Smith, you better not let him make a play because as much hate as that guy gets, he's a pretty respectable.
He be balling.
He
be balling.
He's a pretty respectable play extender in my opinion. Don't give him the opportunity to stand in his own end zone, get a free rush, and let him go complete a 20-yard pass for a first down to get him out of jail.
Yeah, he's all a 6'3", 220 in my opinion, 215, 220. So as we know, you have to get him to the ground, and that's a great transition into looking ahead this week. It's a big one. It's the biggest game of easily Jonathan Gannon and Kyler Murray's tenure. If it's everything's on the line, obviously you lose this game, your playoff chances are down. You've been swept by the Seahawks now twice in a row.
Not make the play.
And it's just like it's down in the gutter thoughts about can this franchise, because clearly they would the narrative turned to you're really not actually that good in the division. You just snuck 2 wins against the teams, and then the other 2 are kind of brittle with injuries. And when they get healthy, the coaching matchup isn't going to be close, and this, that. So the quarterback matchup isn't going to be close, this, that. So there is so much on the line, more so on the coaching staff, the quarterback, and the offense than it is the defense. I think even if the defense goes out there and gives up 24 points this week, they still get a pass because it's going to be on the other side of the ball and the coaching staff to put yourselves in positions to win the football game, to go all out, play like it is week 18, play like it is a Super Bowl. It has to be your Super Bowl. They treated Seattle, they as in Seattle, 2 weeks ago, treated the game against you off of a bye as a Super Bowl. You need to do the same to them and make them pay for the same stuff that you went through. There's no reason that you cannot beat this team. I watch worse teams beat them. They're not that good of a team. They may not think that we're not that good of a team, but they are also not that good of a team. So at the end of the day, yes, they're rolling. They're not a juggernaut. I don't care what they say. They were down 21-7 to a team we spanked by 30, damn near. Like, at the end of the day, you need to execute. You need to be smart, and we need to win this game, Jonathan Gannon. I don't give a damn what it's going to take. You need to win this football game because a lot of this fan base, as much goodwill as you built up this season, it could easily come crumbling down with a loss. And it's not because your team isn't going in the right direction. It's because of where you were. It's because of what this franchise has seen with another coach that was in a same position as you, who had the same quarterback that was in great position by week 12 and terrible position by week 18. So at the end of the day, this is a game you have to secure. There's no ifs, no ands, no buts. This has to be a Cardinals win. We've said that a lot of times this season, but this on God has to be a Cardinals win because if we don't, we will just come on here week after week after this week if we lose the game, and it'll be doom and gloom every time. Personally, for me, I can't enjoy the rest of the season regardless of what happens because outside of Seattle falling fucking flat on their face, you're not coming back to win the division because you have to win the division to go to the playoffs.
No,
I know I'm rambling, but I just want to make sure that this coaching staff and this front office and this team understands the crucial importance to winning this football game and doing whatever it takes to win this game.
Statistically speaking, too, we win the game, we go to a 71% chance to win the division, make the playoffs. We lose the game, it literally flips to a 17% chance. The Seahawks, they're at the Cardinals this week. Then the Packers and the Vikings go into Seattle to play them. Then they travel to the Bears, and then they travel to the Rams. We have a much easier schedule, right? Like we've got Seattle, then we're home against New England. We travel to Carolina, and then we go to the Rams, and then Niners come to us. And at that point, the Niners are going to be so far out of it, like that should be an easy game for us to win. But Corey, to your point, like absolutely have to win the game. A couple little notes here. I didn't realize this, but the Seahawks punter is dealing with a back issue, so he is highly questionable to play.
Didn't he like have the best game of his career against us the other day?
Oh yeah,
a couple weeks ago.
Dude, he did, but he's dealing with a back issue, and they had their place kicker Jason Myers practicing punts today at practice. So that's pretty significant, if you ask me. That could be huge, and DK Metcalf was also severely limited today with a shoulder injury. So
and they got so many injuries on that injury report that they probably have to elevate a different player that's not a punter. So they may have to just roll the kicker,
right?
If they can't go with the punter,
30-yard chip shots. So to Corey's point, like we absolutely have to win this game. This is literally a playoff game. Like everything's on the line. I'm excited, man. I'm feeling good about it. I feel like we get the win. We go to 7-6. We retake the division, and then we got everything ahead of us. You boys are coming out next week, bro. If you boys are coming out after a win at home against Seattle, like we're all gonna be
vibes are gonna be high.
Vibes are gonna be high, bro. So
damn, I need them to win this game. I didn't even realize that.
Let's go.
If I have to go to a game that damn near won't matter, that's gonna fuck kill me.
Yeah, bro. This is this is all the cards on the table. Like,
yeah,
get it done. Just win the game.
Yeah,
we need a shot. We need it.
This is a must win for sure. Because honestly, like some of these games that we was looking at that we was probably chalking up as just dubs. Like after this, they might not necessarily be easy dubs. Like the Panthers are starting to play pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, that game is definitely trap worthy now.
Drake May can throw the ball, bro. Their defense blows, but Drake May can definitely play.
Yeah, so like in order for us to stay in the playoffs, and I agree, like I don't know if we're making the playoffs as a wild card team because the NFC North is probably gonna put 3 teams in with Minnesota, Detroit, and Green Bay. So like
the Commanders got a weak schedule, and they beat us.
Yeah, it's gonna be Washington beat us, so they have the tie break. So like it's gonna be tough. So this game, it's a must win. Like it is, like you mentioned, Corey. This is probably the biggest game in JG, the JG Kyler era, and you're at home. Like what more? What more do you want? They've been looking good at home. They've been playing well at home this season. Like we need a post win vlog from Kyler Murray. It's been too long, so we need one.
Well, we're just narrative wise worrisome. You're wearing the black jerseys.
We wearing black.
Beat the Chargers in the black jerseys.
It doesn't move. It doesn't move me yet. Doesn't move me yet. I need more victories in the black before I can feel comfortable about it.
Bro,
I see more losses in black than victories in black. So
we're winning.
It's so crucial to win this one. I've never needed a win. I don't think you need a win more this season than this one right here. And this one, this is the one where it's got to mean something to everybody in that locker room. Like, and I know we're about to get out of here real quick, but Sean, I don't know if you've seen the Hard Knocks yet. For AFC North, and you can see. I got a great glimpse of why the Pittsburgh Steelers are the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can see Mike Tomlin and how he talks to people and how he motivates the team and how he galvanizes that. I need to see that from JG. We don't get to see that at all, right? We get no locker room speeches. After a victory, no guys ain't going on IG Live. We can't see like Jonathan Gannon celebrating this, that. All we get are reports that the locker room was really loud. This, that. They were celebrating a lot, but we need to we need to know that JG inspired these guys to get it done this week. And be a real football coach and be a guy that we can, back in this on this team, I should say, for years to come. But it starts on Sunday, obviously, and it's just got to mean more. It's got to mean more this week. Jake, do you score prediction this week? Do you want to go back to it? Obviously, they've been downers the last 2 weeks, but I feel good about going back to it this week for some good luck.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw in one thing too. Kyler Murray, to reach 4,000 yards passing for the first time in his career over the next 5 games, he needs to average 279.4 passing yards. Do we think he does that?
Yes.
I'm going to say no. I'm sorry. There might be a game where we win where it's 200 passing yards and he doesn't even have to throw that much. So I don't think he's going to get there. I would love to see 3750. 3750 is a good, nice little moving marker away from doing that. 3750 and 30 total touchdowns. I don't know how close he is to that, but
he's gonna have at least an extra game though.
Yeah, dude. Let me say this: I pray to God that Drew Patson gets head coaching offers, bro. Like,
me too. Shit,
dude. I want this guy out so bad, man. Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to throw the ball around, bro. Like, I want this guy out so badly. I'm going to stop being negative. Score prediction for this game. Give me a little time to focus here. This is big. I gotta find what I was on that 4-game streak.
You gotta visualize it, bro.
Yeah, I gotta give specifics here. I'm gonna say we get to Geno Smith 4+ times.
Okay.
We're gonna pick him off twice.
Okay.
Cardinals are going to win the game 31 21. It's going to be a signature win. Everything's going to be back on the table. Playoffs are going to be right in front of us.
Yeah.
We're going to have a hell of a time next week. It's going to be good vibes, and then we're going to go slap New England around. So 31-21, 2 picks, 4+ sacks. Let's go.
The last question: will you be in State Farm Stadium on Sunday for the big game?
I will be at the game this weekend. I'm actually going to pick up my brother, my little brother, in about half an hour from Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. Pumped to see him, bro. It's been a couple months since I've been out here, and then my dad's flying in on Friday, who's the reason that I'm doing this show right now. So it's going to be great to be with those guys at at State Farm, and really looking forward to it. And then you guys come in next week, which I'm also absolutely pumped for. Can't wait to meet you guys in person and have some pops and enjoy a great couple weeks in a row. So just get the win,
definitely.
and all is forgiven. I'll give Drew Petzing all his flowers if we can just somehow win this game.
Definitely. Great to hear that family is going to be out there for the biggest game of the season. So, good to have loved ones around for a game that will be, as we mentioned, franchise changing, possible type of game for this team, and love to see them step up to the challenge this week. So, appreciate y'all, boys. You guys had anything to say before we head out? It's a great episode from you all, and just gotta win. Just go win.
Yes, sir. Yep. I'm ready to wrap. I feel good about it.
Yes, sir. That's a fact. Well, we will catch y'all next week. Hopefully, after talking about a dub, we will be talking about a dub. I'm going to get positive vibes in here. We will be talking about a dub, and we will be talking about our chances to go to the playoffs for the first time in 3 years. Coming off of a 4-13 season, worst to first, everything will be on the table after we win on Sunday, and split with Seattle, as we mentioned, and everything's back on the table. So. Appreciate y'all, boys. Anybody that came through as a listener, appreciate you. And we will catch y'all next week.
All right. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you guys. Got you.